want to check in with Peter Mead, a longtime friend of the former mayor who we have on the phone now. Maybe to talk a little bit about that authenticity and what you loved most about Mayor Menino.
His warmth, his total commitment to the city, his sense of what was important, that was the people in the city. He was as good a human being as you're going to find anywhere at any time, and he was a great mayor.
And we've been talking about his impact on the city, his dedication to the next generation, to building neighborhoods. What do you think was his most passionate focus? You know, what do you think he was most passionate about for our city?
I can't tell you the number of times in cabinet meetings or department head meetings where the mayor would turn and look out the window and point outside and said, "Don't ever forget that it's about them. It's not about us. It's about those people out there." And he meant it. And he meant it in his bones, and it's the way he ran the city. He was a great mayor. I think he was a fantastic human being. And most people in the city had a sense, he's our guy.
Right.
And they knew that. And he wanted to be mayor. He never wanted to be anything else. And he did that job 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
What did he do? You know, we've heard about his, we've been talking about his go, go, go pace, 16-hour days, getting home late, leaving early. What did he do to unwind and have fun? Or was this fun for him? Was this the relaxation?
This was exhilarating with Tom Menino. What he did to unwind was he did it again. My wife and I were out to dinner with Tom and Angela Menino. This is years ago, and we had a very nice dinner, and Roseanne and I were leaving and heading home, and Tom and Angela had a discussion about what neighborhood should we stop in. You know, it was, I don't know, 9 o'clock at night, and they were still looking for more to do. Just amazing in terms of his sense of, I can do more, I can get all of this done, I can be there, I can touch people.
And Peter, that incredible will, he really pushed through health challenges over the years. Can you tell me about his attitude, even in hardship?
Well, I think I talked to him the day of the marathon bombing that morning. He was in the hospital, and then to realize later that day he was on site after the bombings, and the bombing took place on a Monday. He called me Monday night and wanted to know what we were doing. I was head of the Development Authority at the time. What we were doing to help get businesses back on their feet as soon as the Boylston Street businesses could open. And he was thinking through that right away. He thought in a multidimensional way about how the city should serve the people who are here. And in good times and bad, and when you think about that, with the marathon bombing, all the other things he had to be thinking about, part of his time was occupied with, how do we get those businesses open? There are loads of people who need to get back to work. We need to make sure that the city reacts well to this. Just a phenomenal reaction.
And it was so important to him. I know he wrote in his recently released book how important it was to show strength and not show any panic, and he thought through every single movement that he made. Peter Mead, thank you so much for joining us, and we're so sorry for your loss.